Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of the Grain Gauntlet. As always, 5 questions from current clients and prospects. This is Patrick. I'm Josh. Here we go.
Ready?
Okay. First question. Lots of questions about weather and heat right now. So this one says, if this heat they're calling for parks itself over the Corn Belt into August, what kind of price potential are we looking at?
Well, first of all, I don't think that's going to happen where we have a high pressure sitting over the Midwest. It looks more like that high pressure would drift over the Rockies. Second, we've been getting moisture with the heat, which is really positive for the market. I don't think if we had hot, dry sitting over the Corn Belt for the rest of this growing season, we take the top off of corn big time, maybe 10 bushels, and maybe go from 185, which is where I think it is right now, at least what I think the USDA is going to say, down to 175, but that seems highly unlikely.
Okay. All right. What, like you kind of just answered this, but what would a hot, dry finish do to yield? So you're saying about 175?
Yeah, 175 because we're pretty much made. There's a lot of moisture in the soil and in a lot of states, especially Iowa. They can get through a pretty long period of dryness right now, and pollination is passed. That takes a lot of risk out. For soybeans, a hot, dry finish may push soybean yields lower, though. 52.5 right now being projected. We know soybeans don't like wet feet, and they had wet feet this year. So on top of that, a hot and dry finish, I think, could knock soybeans down significantly.
Okay. Thoughts on Trump when it comes to helping the ag market so far, and how bad will his push to get Coke to move away from corn syrup hurt us? That was a big topic last.
Yeah, corn syrup, Trump pushing Coca-Cola to do real sugar. Wow, that's kind of an anti-aid for us, I guess, huh? I think he's going to come up with a lot of deals where countries that don't usually buy from us buy egg and energy products from us. I think that will help give us a base to work off every year for exports, which is a good thing. But again, exports are sort of a shell game. If Vietnam's buying corn or soybean or oil, bean oil or ethanol from us, they're not going to be buying it from somebody else. So, it's really a world game when it comes to exports and price. Right now, corn prices with this little jump up have moved ahead of South American prices. So we're not competitive on the export market right now.
Okay. And one quick note to add, I've heard talk about what Coke and Pepsi are doing as far as this goes. It doesn't sound like they're going to get rid of their products made with corn syrup altogether. They just want to offer, with the product with sugar. But I guess they talk about people having a taste that they won't want to go away from. So it's not like they're going to get rid of the corn syrup offering altogether. They're just going to also offer made with sugar, and it doesn't sound like it's going to have too much impact.
That makes a lot of sense. I know old people like me like to buy Mexican Coke like at Chipotle's because it has real cane sugar, and that's the taste that was brought up. Nothing wrong with high fructose corn syrup. I drank it. It's in all our food. However, that little special treat, one that reminds me when I was a kid, us old guys will buy some more of what we call the real Coke.
Yeah, exactly. This one says, with the Safrinha crop coming to market late, could we still be in store for a slow drip down as their harvest catches up?
Normally, at this time of year, prices fall off the face of the cliff, right? And the reason for that is end users. They are the most powerful entity in the markets. They are usually bought ahead now to our harvest, which means they don't have to buy anything, which means there's pressure on prices. On top of that, we have now the third largest crop in the world being harvested right before ours. That puts a dent in our exports at the end of the year and the beginning of the new year, which used to be the biggest demand period, first quarter of the new year starting in September. So the glut of corn going to market starting in August and lasting through Mid-October, early November is the issue for prices going down. The fact that end users are bought ahead, usually got a old crop, and then they got the forward pricing that everybody does also secured. They are no need to push prices. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, and the I guess overall question you why it's not here today is the low end. Well, typically, what's coming from South America is already hitting the market for at least a month now. They're way behind, and them coming to market late might mean that the dynamics and the timelines changed a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we pushed a low from the end of August like we saw last year on August 26th when September futures hit 360 and December's hit 385. A little bit later, maybe mid-September. But somewhere in that time frame is when the glut is going to be at the greatest and the least amount of need for end users will facilitate.
Right. And finally, this question's from Prospect. Seems to be a pretty popular question with a lot of people who haven't been with us yet. It says, with you guys being completely sold out on old crop, would you still come out with sale or hedge recommendations for those of us who are still sitting on some in the event we get in kind of rally?
Wow. Again, no, I wouldn't be having a buyback. I would make sales at this stinky price, which I wouldn't want to do in the future. If you came aboard with us, we'd have your old crop sold by now. But I would sell it and look for a buyback at harvest lows. The two best times to activate your hedge account is early to mid-July on a hedge, because that's when we normally fall hardest and fastest. The probability of a hedge position being successful is the highest at that time of the year. As far as rallies, the best time to buy, the highest probability of success is at harvest lows. So sell, clean out the bins, look for buyback at harvest lows. Call us, we'll give you good ideas.
All right, sounds good. That's all for this week. Thank you, everyone, for the questions. As always, if you have a question that you'd like to have us answer, you can email it to adminstaff@hedge-plus.com. And have a good week, everybody.
Stay cool.